Okay, so it is. Everyone is now laying down to go to sleep after the debacle with the boys. It's been a long day for everyone.
Yeah.
Uh, so, what are you doing?
All right. So Akiho uh waits through the night. Not through the entire night. Waits a few hours after we've all gone to lay down,
All right,
and
so you wait until about somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, and then all of us a sudden start implanting like visions in Vera's mind, or pushing visions towards her mind of Max
Of
and
of just Max.
first starting just images of him, and then slowly kind of putting like an ominous tint on it,
All right.
and then whispers like he's something like he's a danger, and then something like he's a danger to what's her name, Lucilia.
Lucilia, yes. Are you
Yeah.
looking through her eyes or anything?
No.
No? Okay. Well, you're just laying there uh in false sleep, and you're transmitting these images, and uh, and you're not sure, but you kind of get the feeling that Vera's still awake, um, and that she never really went to sleep. You're not exactly sure how effective these images are, but you start to hear shuffling from where Vera was. If she wasn't awake, she definitely seems to be having a reaction.
Okay. So the idea is kind of like how thoughts aren't always, precisely clear, or dreams aren't always precisely clear. Just when I send the audio to her, it's in her own voice.
All right.
So it's like her subconscious telling her that Max is a danger to Lucilia.
All right. You you hear slight whispering um, coming from her direction. Uh, like, no, he is a threat. You can't tell me that he's not a threat.
Yeah. Um, and then throughout this, sending flashes, ideas of like how he might threaten Lucilia. Not necessarily entirely always. Um, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like,
Direct.
yeah, direct, but just like maybe he could attack her. He's hiding something.
Yeah, maybe he knows secrets. All right.
He would try to blackmail.
Yeah. Hold on a second, actually. Is this pause button working?
All right.
Okay, so you're implanting the vague ideas of perhaps Max isn't who he appears to be. Perhaps he's exactly as he acts, some kind of delinquent. Um, w- Things like, well, if he's capable of getting into a locked room, then what could that mean? Uh, if he's
Yeah.
if he's spying uh, on all of you, then what if Lucilia was here? What if she said something uh, that he could turn against her?
Yeah. What if he had already heard something from somewhere else or heard what she had said in the room?
Right.
And when I say said in the room, I mean when we all did
The truth or dare.
the truth or dare, and she went to talk to Lucilia.
Yes. You
He heard and he knows.
you hear Vera sigh, um, and you hear her say, "Well, I need to go for a walk." Well, no, she's asleep. And then she just says, "I just need to clear my head, okay? I understand the orders you gave me. Very well." And you hear her sit back down with a sigh, just a
I hold off for a little bit, wait a couple minutes, and then just then start repeating some of the same ones over again. Um, and see what else. Little, I would replay thoughts of things that I had seen when they were both in the same room together, and he had said something. I'm trying to think of a specific instance where that might have occurred, but uh, like where he would say something in a room, but then I'd make it so that she would take that in a different way,
okay.
like read into it deeper than what had been there before.
All right. Yeah, you start implanting thoughts in her head, visions of right after Leon died, and everyone was gathered around with the teachers, and someone said, "Well, what about you? Uh, you're the mind reader." And then you have it, the person accusing them be Max, and then it turns more into of a dreamscape of Max saying, "You did it. It was your fault." Everyone, uh, and just everyone pointing at Lucilia, saying it's her fault. While Max is the one standing in front, uh,
He's the
being the
one leading
loudest.
the
Yes.
yeah. Excuse me, sorry, my stomach. Yeah, so things like that, and then interspersing it with words in her own voice, kind of like it's her subconscious saying, "We need to do something about this. He must be taken care of."
You hear her mutter those words herself, and uh, you hear her say, "He must be dealt with." Then you hear her go, "No, it's what I must do. Get out of my head. You don't control me. No, you don't. I'll prove it." And then you hear her stand up and start to walk off. You hear
All right.
her footsteps get closer and closer to the elevator.
Um, as she's leaving, just like a quick thought, like it would be so easy in the middle of the night like this while he's not prepared.
All right.
I'll wait
Well,
till she gets in the elevator and starts leaving.
she's walking up, or she's walking down the stairs.
Oh, down the stairs. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I'll wait till she starts doing that, and here is where I don't know what to do. So the way I'm playing Akiho is they're, an intelligent serial killer.
Right.
I believe they would want to know what Vera is doing, but would know they wouldn't be able to sneak up on her. But with lack of knowledge of what Vera's
Well,
powers are,
yeah, you can peer through her.
yeah, exactly. But I was going to say, with lack of knowledge of what her powers are, wondering if that would be wise,
Hold on a
because it
second.
sounded like she was talking to someone.
Okay, continue. You don't know what her powers are, so you're reluctant.
Yeah, reluctant. And then she was clearly talking to someone. Not sure if it was Lucilia or somehow related to her powers, like maybe she's a schizo or something. And if she's a schizo, that might mean like a second personality that would detect Akio's presence in something as obvious as seeing through her eyes.
Decisions.
So now, yeah, I'm trying to decide. Not sure if Akiho would chance looking through her eyes or not. What's it, GM roll?
Yes, /GM roll. What are you GM rolling?
I think I'm going to do a D100
Okay.
to decide. And I'm not sure if I want to do low or high.
I'll
I'm not sure
pick
what I should
go
make the
high.
ratio. Go high.
Well, it was high. What are you going to do?
I figure that means chance seeing through the eyes.
Chance it?
So yeah, delving into her senses.
Okay. Give me a, what is it, mind reading roll?
Let me see.
And that is, okay.
So the mind control roll.
Yes. You have to beat a 9.
I'm trying to see if there's a way I can roll this.
The best thing to do would be to use the private roll macro and just put in the modifier.
Okay.
So you've got like what, a +8 or something?
So it's my mind stat plus the level of the ability.
Yes. 2d6 plus that.
All right, so I'm just clicking the thing and I'm doing the modifier, and the modifier is 5 is my mind, and level is 6, so 11.
Oh, your modifier is 11?
Yeah.
All right, you don't even have to roll. You beat it automatically. All right. As you kind of close your eyes, and lay down, you take a deep breath, and as your eyes close, your eyes open. But it's not you your eyes that you're seeing through. It's Vera's walking down the stairwell, uh, very darkly lit, with only like the little lights near the stairs to catch your footing. She seems to be going down. She's still talking to herself. She says, "Well, how do you know? You saw what he did today. He's a threat." And I can't. No, I came up with that on my own. I I'm the same as you. We think the same. We both can think. I'm not a puppet.
All right. Which floor were we on again?
I believe you were. Actually, let me check. You were on the 10th, and he is on the 8th.
Yeah, I could see what room he was. I just couldn't remember. Uh, right, I remember which floor and room he was. I just couldn't remember which one we were doing the sleepover in for some reason. All right. Okay. All right. I continue to just kind of listen in and watch through her eyes for a moment.
She gets down to the 8th floor, uh, just to the door where the stairs open to the hallway, and she says, uh, "We both have Miss Lucilia's best intentions. Don't try to stop me." And she opens the door, and she says, "I didn't think that far ahead, but I'm going to do something."
Something must be done. With an in her voice, of course, but with like a note of finality.
And she's just standing at the doorway, and she's saying, "I don't know, and interrogate him, uh, find out what he knows, something."
Can that be chanced? Should he just be silenced?
And then uh, she says, "It's not like it would be the first time." How is this any different than back home? Then
That's interesting of note. I'm not saying that to her. That's just good to
I
know for Akiho.
then then she says, "I will defend Miss Lucilia." "No, we will defend her, no matter what it takes." Then she takes a step forward, and uh, and she says, "I I I'm doing this for Miss Lucilia." "What do you mean, what's gotten into me?"
Everything is for Miss Lucilia's sake.
"I am not being irrational." She's starting to get louder and louder. And then she says, "No, don't try to stop me."
You can't stop me.
And then she says, uh, "How do you even know you're the original? How do you know I'm not the original?" And and, and then all of a sudden, uh, your connection just goes away. There's nothing
All
there
right.
anymore.
Interesting. Interesting. I will
You feel your mark. It doesn't even fade away. It's like it blinks from existence.
just it was there and then it's gone. It
Yes,
wasn't removed, it just no longer exists.
right.
All right. That's kind of cool. I think I have a theory of what happened,
Okay. Well, is there
but
anything you would like to do for the rest of the night?
from here, um, no,
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think there's anything that would be useful at this point. I mean,
well,
um,
do you stay up any longer, or do you just say it's a lost cause? Do you wait to see if she comes back?
I'll probably wait 5 minutes, and then if I don't see her come back, or my connection doesn't reestablish itself, I will go to sleep.
All right. Well, uh, right as you're about to give up and go to sleep, as you start fading off into dreamland, you do hear Vera's footsteps, and she apparently, uh, very silently but still there, uh, go sits on her bunk, or well,
All right.
not her bunk, but her, or actually, it's about 15 minutes later, pretty late. It actually wakes you up a little.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'll kind of just make a note that she's back, but if I don't feel anything, I'll just go back to dozing off.
The mark is not there. Okay. Well, would you like to continue for the next day slash night?
The next day, yeah, probably wake up in the morning.
All right. Well, give me a rundown of what you do that day. Chiho is very eager to go to the pool. As the sun is starting to, uh, you start to see the sun kind of split, or rather, it stops raining, and that's good enough for Chiho. Uh,
Um, yeah, I'll probably end up going swimming as well. Do I? So the mark doesn't come back even in the next day.
no, it's just gone. Would you like to
Um,
mark someone? Uh,
I will reapply it on Vera.
all right, how do you go about doing that?
Does she join us in the pool?
No. She seems to just go up to Lucilia's room, or at least the floor, and go ahead and give me a body roll.
Okay. Pah,
Wait, that's
that's literally the
attributes.
worst. That's literally the worst role it could possibly be.
Literally the worst roll. Okay. Let's see. Three. Okay, yeah, she beats that automatically. I'm not even gonna roll. Uh, yeah, she just goes up to her room, and you don't see her for the rest of the day.
All right. I'll just spend the day uh, hanging out with Chiho, swimming.
Isabella is there as well.
Yeah. So Just being a good friend and ingratiating myself closer into their lives.
All right. Well, we can cover that more in detail next session. Uh, is there anything else you want to do during the night? Do you have any plans?
Um,
The people you have access to are basically everyone except Vera and Lucilia right now. But
probably,
but you do see them in the lunch hall.
yeah. Um, I'll actually probably mark Max at some point.
All right.
This day.
All right. Well, interesting what they're doing is uh what was I gonna have that? Right. Uh you actually only get to see them in the morning as all of the boys and Judas and go out somewhere during the day, and they don't come back until later in the afternoon. And when they come back, they look really tired.
Okay. I assume they went to work out at the gym.
They actually went in the direction of the woods.
Oh, the woods? Okay, never mind. I was like, working out for old Leon's sake?
Yeah,
Um,
and and they're still walking in that formation where one's in front of the other. Seems
who all
like
went
they're
again? All the
that
boys?
yeah, it would be basically all the boys. Yeah, basically all the boys.
Okay.
But
By the time they,
you would have the opportunity to walk up to them before they're leaving in the morning, though.
um, if they're leaving, no, I probably wouldn't do it in the morning. I'd probably wait till they got back in the afternoon
All
when
right.
they were tired. Um,
Yeah, Max basically just immediately jumps on the couch in the lobby and just like puts his feet on the couch and just looks miserable.
I offer to make all of them some dinner, brunch, lunch, whatever meal would be appropriate at this time.
Yeah, he would definitely take it. Uh, Sora is not there. Uh, he went to the baths, and not sure where Karu would be, so we'll leave that up to there.
Okay.
But Max, uh, we'll just say that you caught Max alone in the lobby at some point, and he's just kind of laying there miserable.
All right. I would probably approach him and just ask if he would like a meal that I'd be happy to cook for all of them because they were all out, and if he sees any of them, to let them know.
Oh, he. Whenever you come up to him, he looks really all awkward. He's like, oh hey, Akiho, uh, uh, sorry about the other day.
uh, or dang it, hold on. I was about to talk stuttering, going into what's his face for a second.
The other guy. Yeah.
Um,
Too many games. Too many games.
yeah, dude, too many games. Um, oh, it's all right. How would I say this? I I feel bad for all of you. It seemed to everyone got pretty hurt, and I'm sorry for knocking you out as well. I would
Yeah.
like to make it up to all of you.
Uh, he just says, really? Uh, all right, sure.
if you don't mind me cooking for you, that is.
Uh, that'd be amazing, actually. His stomach growls very loudly when at the sound of food.
I'll just kind of laugh and ask him if there's anything in particular he would prefer, and then that's what I would make.
Yeah, he just says anything, uh, and you make him something pretty good. You've proven yourself as a chef as of late, so you cook a meal for him, and gradually, or not gradually, but you manage to brush against his hand whenever you're passing him the food. If you
And that's the plan.
That's very doable. He's marked, and it's now uh, it is in the late afternoon. Uh, what do you want to do? Wait until
Um,
night or what?
no, I'd probably uh, sit and talk for a few minutes just to not make it like, here's your food and leave. Um, I'd probably, just ask how he's feeling and hope he's feeling, better after the meal, after like a good meal, and then try to bring up a conversation about maybe like the latest book I was reading.
Uh, Basically, he says that he feels like garbage. Judas is a slave driver. Life sucks, and he kind of zones out when you start talking about books.
That's the plan. Yeah. I figured bringing up a book like that would make him like start to get disinterested in the conversation.
Yeah,
And
he kind of focuses exclusively on the food at that point. Just it's kind of like, uh, uh-huh.
yeah, after a few minutes of that, I'd probably like do like a slight thing where you like come to the realization that you're boring the other person, and then I'd be like, sorry for taking up your time. I'll let you eat in peace. I'm just gonna go get back to reading, actually, and excuse myself.
Uh, he just he's kind of like, all right, later. In his to the point kind of way.
Yeah, I figured it wouldn't be too hard, but and then eventually when I get away or whatever, I'll head to my room and start and like pull out my book and go to pretend like I'm gonna start reading, but I'll be looking through his eyes and um, out of curiosity, I'm trying to remember. Have I ever seen Lucilia besides in like full dress?
You have seen her in her uh, uh, like workout suit, but that's
Okay,
about it. Dresses and the workout
all
attire.
right. After a few hours, after he's well, maybe not a few hours. I don't know. After he's finished eating though, and he's heading back towards the dorms, I'd start planting images of her in less than full clothing. Starting with images of that, uh, uh, like you said, workout suit.
Some risque kind of images.
Yeah, and
He
I figure I probably wouldn't have to work too hard about getting him interested in thoughts like that.
it's not too hard, no. Um, but he doesn't go straight to his dorms. Uh, it's kind of weird actually. It's something you've never experienced, but You're looking through his eyes, and seems like the whole color scale of the world just looks really different all of a sudden. Everything looks kind of brighter and bigger, uh, and seems
Oh,
like you're moving really, really fast, but you're not getting very far because not really sure why.
everything's bigger. I imagine this is what it feels like from his perspective when he's in cat form.
Possibly. Uh, kind of makes his way outside, and uh, you you look down and you see little black paws. Uh, Even though it's dark outside, it's pretty easy to see. And he kind of runs up of a tree, and he settles on a branch and closes his eyes at that point.
Um, as he settles to start going to sleep, I'll just be basically putting more and more images of Lucilia in his mind in various states of dress and undress, acting in ways she obviously wouldn't act,
Right.
but just like, oh, Max,
It,
and
it, Especially when those images start to pop up, his you hear scratching sounds like he's scratching his ear, and you hear.
and I'd probably just keep up with this for a few hours until he seems like he's about ready to get up.
Yeah, it takes about an hour or so. It's mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah, I
Um,
imagine so.
but he does eventually get up. Uh, you hear the wind start to blow, and you hear him kind of shake a little, and he climbs down the tree, and you see the vision transform back to what you know. He heads in the elevator and starts heading up to his dorm.
Um, I uh, while he's in the elevator, I'd press the or I'd convince him to press the level for floor 20.
Okay, so you control him to make him press the button.
I don't control him to do it, so what I would do would be like as he goes into the elevator and he's about to press his floor, um, just be like, I wonder what Lucilia is doing. She's on floor 20, right?
Right.
And then
He
images
he
of her in his mind.
he steps in the elevator, and he's you see him kind of just staring off into space, and he doesn't even really look at the button he presses, and you see his hand go and press the 20th floor, and the elevator starts going up, and he's like, looks down at the button he pressed, and he's like, oh crap, and he presses the 8th floor, and and it's around that point uh, that he just passed the 9th floor, and he's like, oh god, I'm more tired than I thought.
It works in my favor for him being more tired. And then I'm also trying to finesse his mind rather than brute force it.
Right.
Um, as he's heading up and thinking about how tired he is, um, I'll kind of enforce something like, but maybe I need to apologize to Lucilia and Vera. Maybe it would be a good idea to apologize to Vera.
He starts
Let's say that.
scratching his chin, and then he's like, nah, she'd probably kill me.
That's completely fair.
Uh, right around then, the elevator dings to the 20th floor.
Do I happen to know? Are they in their rooms right now, or is it at this point they're in somewhere else?
They're most likely in their rooms. There would be no reason for you to think otherwise. Where
Okay,
are you right now?
in my room.
Okay.
Um, all right, I'd probably let him get to his room and wait till he goes to sleep,
All right.
and then when he's asleep, that's when I'll probably have him sleepwalk and assume control.
All right. He gets in his room, and are you still looking through his eyes?
Yes.
All right. He gets into his room and uh, he yawns and stretches, and uh, and he kind of like lifts his arm and sniffs his armpit, and he's like, goes into the bathroom and starts taking his clothes off. And
Um, I'd probably give him privacy here. I
okay,
have no interest in watching that.
okay. Uh, well, you check back in on him in like an hour, and he seems uh he seems to be laying in bed dozing off.
Um, all right, I'll wait till his mind actually goes down.
All right, that takes about 30 minutes or so more. Uh, you feel mentally exhausted. You've you've had to watch this boring cat person do menial human activities.
Yeah.
Seeing through the eyes of a cat was interesting, but it's hardly worth the drolling boredom of this pet. But finally, he slips into unconsciousness.
When he does, I'll stand up
You will, or you'll have him stand up.
him.
Okay. He uh
I'm slipping into his meat suit, and I'm not. Um, well, I guess that would depend on if you how you would let that work. Actually,
what do you
like,
mean?
could I keep his mind suppressed and sleeping, quote unquote, and then direct like his subconscious? Um, how like some people do when they're in how sleepwalkers do.
Right. Uh I would have to say that you are controlling them, so they're still aware of themselves, right? It's just you're you're basically their subconscious telling them what to do. So he would be awake and he would be himself, right? But he would basically be your puppet. So he would rationalize whatever you're telling him to do in his own thoughts, but his mind is still there.
Okay. Um,
So his eyes kind of flutter open, and he's like, I can't sleep.
and so I'll have him stand up, and I'll actually walk him back to the elevator. Thoughts of apologizing to Vera becoming overwhelming.
All right. He's like, "Mm, maybe I should apologize.
He won't be able to get rest until he does.
Yeah. And and he presses the button to the 20th floor and he says, I hope she's still awake. I hope she doesn't think I'm some kind of creeper or something. Maybe I should go put on my pants. That's a good idea. And he goes and he does that, and he gets back in the elevator, and he says, "That was a close one, man. I'm really not in my right state of mind."
Yes. And pushes floor 20 and waits.
The elevator dings, and you're on the low light of the 20th floor. It's pretty late. Late were you wanting this to be?
How late would you say he was heading to bed?
Knowing him, probably around 10 or 11. Probably sometime early,
So probably about an hour after that. So
like 12.
11 to midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, 11 to midnight. All right. So it's just around the point where the lights have shut off for the night. Um, and he's on the 20th floor with the nebulous landscape of the astral theme, and he walks over to Vera's door, uh, and he kind of shuffles, and he's like, mm,
Then um,
"She's
maybe
gonna."
knocking wouldn't be such a good idea. Maybe he should just use his skills and get in.
Mm. You have a plus 11, so I'm not even gonna roll. But he doesn't. His immediate reaction is, I mean, what? I guess it couldn't hurt. I mean, I don't. She'd kill me if I woke up Lucilia. All right, and uh, and he pulls he checks his pocket, and he's like, "Oh, good, they're in these pants." And let's see. That is a okay. Wait, what is his? Okay. He, you see him look at his hands and kind of jiggle the door for a second. Come on, tink, and the door comes open, and he says, "Ugh, all right," and he opens the door, and and it's completely dark in there.
Um, I guess he should look for her.
Yeah. All right. Well, he.
But he wants to be quiet to not wake Lucilia.
All right. You see the vision change again, and even though the room is dark and black, it suddenly becomes this kind of medium grayscape. Let's see how sneaky he is. He doesn't have any.
Sneaky, sneaky.
He doesn't have any special cat sneakiness. So okay. Well, he's a cat, so I'm gonna. Oh wait, he actually does have sneaky catness. Okay.
I was gonna say I figure a cat would give him a bonus, but
He actually has quite this substantial bonus of 7. Yeah, no,
not
he's
bad.
good. He's good. Uh, you see him doing the little the cat thing where he it, it's interesting. You have an image of what he's doing in your mind because you've seen cats before, but of course you've never actually seen a cat do this from the cat's eyes, but it looks like he's doing the thing where he puts his paw out and leans down, and the kind of cat being low to the ground kind of thing.
Yeah, like a cat stalking.
Yes. He's looking through the room, and he eventually gets to the room of the bedroom, Vera's bedroom, and turns back into a person, opens the door, and immediately turns back into a cat. And you can see there Vera on her sitting on her bed with her eyes closed and her legs crossed, kind of like she's meditating.
Um, all right. He'll want to walk into the room, and are there any of her weapons nearby?
You don't see any any weapons out.
Okay. I didn't think he would, but I was just making sure just in case. Because if he found something, he would want to maybe try to grab it before she could, just to make sure she couldn't kill him with it.
Right.
Um, so since he can't find anything, he'll probably want to approach her.
You can do a quick search, or he'll do a quick search.
Okay, yeah.
He does have dark vision. He does have. He actually doesn't have better eyesight. All right. I'll just give him a straight roll then. He doesn't see anything at all.
Fair.
In fact, he almost runs into a wall.
All right, then.
As Vera kind of coughs and he looks that direction, but he's still walking and he turns around and there's just a wall right there and he's like,
Okay. All right. So it's probably he assumes it's going to be safe then to talk to her. So he'll approach her, turn back into a human, and just start by apologizing.
Okay. So he turns back into a person and you hear him say, uh, hey. And and Vera, um, you see Vera get up immediately and jumps towards him. Uh, and let's see. Let's actually see what happens here. Um, uh, okay. You see her tackle him to the ground, and you see through his eyes just a small dagger to his neck, and 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 you hear her say, "How did you get in here?" Hey, hey, hey! Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, hey, calm down.
As he's starting to panic, I'm going to force a sudden terrifying thought into his mind of her plunging the dagger into his throat, and he needs to fight or flight.
Fight or flight.
Well,
Okay.
not flight. Let's just say defend himself. Fight,
That freaking plus 11. I'm not. I
because
can't
he
even bother rolling any. His maximum roll would not be enough.
wait, really? What?
Yeah, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. Uh, his max roll would be a 15. You would have to get 3. So I don't even think it's one. Plus
All
that
right.
plus that's a reasonable assumption of something
Yeah.
he would do. All right, he's like, "Hey, hey." And you see him kind of stop and his hands grab onto her hand with the little kunai there, and he starts like trying to like get away and and uh and he's just like "Ah, ah," and she's fighting with him.
He conveniently forgets that he can turn into a cat.
Yeah, he's in panic mode.
Yeah, and
And
so
are
he
you
just needs to
making
fight the
him
dagger.
kind of forget?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Okay.
So he forgets he has cat form, and now he has to just fight with his hands,
All right.
sending pure panic into his brain.
All right. Pure panic. He he's fighting with her and he's struggling, but he also doesn't want to make any noise quite right now.
Because he needs to. He can't wake up Lucilia.
Okay, yeah. Uh, he manages to buck her over, and now he's on top of her, uh, and they're still struggling. And Vera's like, they're still struggling. Or is there anything else you're putting into his mind?
Just that he, at this point, there's no talking her down. He has
It
to turn the dagger on her,
it,
or else she'll put it in him.
it's me or it's her or me.
Yes.
All right, so he starts pushing down, and Vera, ju- you see Vera look behind her, and all of a sudden, uh, Max turns his head to see what she's looking at, and you see Vera, but you see Vera behind uh, him, and uh, just approaching very quickly. Let's see.
Kage no Bunshin.
Oh, okay. Uh, so you see, uh, he's like, "What the?" And he kind of jumps off of Vera, the Vera he's on, as you see uh, the other Vera uh, take a swipe at him, and he's looking around the room now, and and he starts to bolt towards the door.
Mm-hmm.
Do you let him do that?
Um, I would prefer not to. No. I will have
Okay.
him
It,
charge one of the two.
charge one of the two.
Yeah, whatever one he's looking at that moment.
All right. Uh, he's staring at the one that just took a swipe at him, and you see him run down and start. Uh, he says, "You're not gonna kill me!" And he starts running towards the other Vera, and uh, and uh, and actually, still need to keep rolling. Oh wait, I think she actually has a value of 4. Hold on a second. I might have been giving her or him an unfair advantage. Wait, what?
Oh,
Uh,
what?
no, no, that didn't.
So he'll be
Another
charging her
freaking
dagger
tie, bro.
first.
Another tie. All right. Uh, the one Vera jumps out of the way, and and he kind of just crashes into the wall, and there's a loud as he just face plants right into the wall. Um, and you hear one of the Veras uh, say, "Max, what has gotten into you?" Uh, as she's holding one of her daggers just in her hand, ready to throw it.
I'll just force him to just mutter Lucilia's name. In his mind, maybe that like can't wake Lucilia, but he doesn't say that. He just says Lucilia.
You see Vera's eyes go kind of wide, and she says, "What about the mistress?" She threateningly points the dagger towards him as he's looking back and forth between the Veras and the door, uh,
Does he have
contemplating.
Does he have one of their kunai in hand?
He did not manage to grab it from her.
Okay, so he doesn't.
No,
Um,
but only one of them is holding one.
he'll try to steal that dagger from her.
All right.
He needs it. He needs it to defend himself with.
Yeah. The if if they have it and I don't, then who knows what could happen. Oh,
Exactly.
oh dang. He jumps and lunges towards the one with the dagger in her hand, and he grabs her hand, and she doesn't expect it, and he slams her hand against the wall, and the dagger drops to the ground, and he goes down and he grabs it. Uh, you're hearing, or he's hearing footsteps come from the other room, and
Need to finish this quick before she gets there.
all right. The, he lunges at her, uh, and you hear Lucilia uh, uh, say, "Max, no!" And he lunges at the other one, and the one he just grabbed the dagger from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. he, I've tied 3 times.
I've totally expected her to just impale him already, but
It's so close, yo. Okay. Uh, you see he sees the Vera kind of duck out of the way, and uh, all of a sudden he looks towards his hand, and the dagger's gone. Uh, and he's looking around the room, and he blinks, and then all of a sudden, there's no one in the room with him. Uh, Let me give him a. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's a DC for this. Pretty sure there's a DC. Okay.
quick question.
Yes.
Where was the did he see the last location of Lucilia? Like, did he have eyes on her?
Did he? He heard her from. Um, well, it's kind of strange. Well, no, no. You heard her yell from the doorway to the from the other room because you
Okay.
wouldn't hear that.
Um all right. So you said everything disappeared
Not
or
everything.
everyone?
Yeah, just well, the two Veras. He never saw Lucilia. He just heard her voice behind him.
All right.
And the dagger
Just
in his hand is just gone.
just with within his own voice just saying her name again, Lucilia, and then turned to look for her.
He looks around and he doesn't see anything. Uh,
He'll lunge towards her room.
Lunge towards her room.
Yeah.
All right,
The door between their rooms or whatever where he heard her voice.
all right. He starts running that way, and he goes to open the door, but or rather, the door was open, but now it's closed, and the door won't come open. He's fiddling with the lock or the door, and it's not opening. And he just yet you hear him now, Lucilia, I can't wake Lucilia. He's just out of it right now. He's just lost it.
Right. Um All right, so he doesn't see anything. He no longer has a dagger.
And
Uh,
the door will not come open. He's trapped in there, and there's no way out. And he's just in a panic now. Lucilia's gonna hear him. Lucilia's gonna hear him.
all right, he has to get out. He has to run then.
All right. Well, all of a sudden, uh, you see him flying through the air, and he lands on the ground with a and uh, and all of a sudden, he blinks his eyes, and that there's two Veras on top of him, one holding each hand, and there's someone holding down his feet too. Uh, and uh, you hear the Vera on his left say, "Do you got him?" The other Vera says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and he's just squirming. "Let me go!"
Just mindless animal panic.
And and Lucilia says, uh, just says, "They're coming. They're coming. Don't worry, they're coming." Uh, and and you hear him say, "Get out of my head!" And uh, and he says, "I will not calm down. Get out of my head. Stop speaking in my head." And then all of a sudden, the Veras are gone, and you see Max is he looks around, and he's uh, still in his room, laying in his bed. And he kind of gets up, and he looks around, and he's just in his bed. He
It
he,
was a
he
terrible nightmare.
yeah. All right. He's he, you see he's in his room. What do you do now?
Um, I assume he's like panicked breathing, waking up like he just woke up from a nightmare.
Yeah, kind of like, or yeah, kind of like that.
Um, with the thought that it was only a dream. Uh, After like pushing that thought to him, I'll just
That it
slowly exit
was
his mind.
all right. Um, all right. Is that where you want to end this for the night?
Yeah.
Okay.